Let's begin with homework exercise number 1 from section 8.3. The formula for calculating simple interest is the principal times the rate times the time. So it's P times RT. Okay, principal times rate times time. P is the principal, or the amount of money you're investing. R is the rate given as a decimal. And T is the the time invested. The amount of time invested. T stands for time. Excuse me. Again, the interest is principal times rate times time. R is expressed as a decimal, and T is expressed in years or as a portion of a year. Notice that the T expressed in years or portion of a year will be very important. I'll explain that when we get to some problems in a few minutes. Fill in the blanks so that the resulting statement is true. The future value A of P dollars at simple interest rate for T years is given by the formula. A is always P, and then in parentheses, 1 plus R times T. P in parentheses, 1 plus R times T. All right, we'll be using that formula in a few minutes to solve several of the problems. Okay, homework exercise number 3. The principal P is borrowed at a simple interest rate for a period of time. Find the simple interest owed for the use of the money. Assume 360 days in a year. So the principal is 8,000, rates 4%, and the amount of time is 1 year. So we just had the formula. Interest is equal to P times R times T. P is the principal invested or borrowed, 8,000. The rate is a percentage, but you put it in as a decimal. So 4% will be 0.04. Turn it over, move it over 2 places to the left, and 1 year. Okay, and then we can simply use our calculator to do that, to do the multiplication on our calculator. 8,000 times 0.04 times 1, and that will give us the amount of interest. $8,000 times 4% as a decimal, 0.04 times 1, and we get the amount of interest, $320. Number 4, principal is borrowed, time, rate, and time are given. All right, and this time we've got 2 years, so interest, find the simple interest. So again, interest is the principal, $380, times the rate as a percent. Given as a percent, as a decimal, move it over 2 places, 0.03, and now notice it's 2 years. So the amount of time in years is obviously 2, so you've got to multiply it by 2. And again, we can use our calculator to go ahead and do the multiplications. Principal times rate as a decimal times the amount of time. So we get $380 times 0.03 times 2, for 2 years, and we would get $22.80. Okay, again, find a simple interest. 6,000 at 2% for 15 months, okay? Now, it's got to be in years. So again, interest is principal, given to be 6,000. The rate as a decimal, 2% is moved over 2 places, 0.02. And 15 months in terms of years is 15 over 12, because there's 12 months in a year. So whenever you're given the time in months, you're going to divide it by 12, because that will give it you in terms of years, because 12 months is exactly 1 year. Okay? So you can go ahead and do 15 divided by 12, get a decimal, or just do 15 divided by 12 right into the formula, that's the way I'll do it. So again, the principal is 6,000 times the rate as a decimal, 0.02, times 15 divided by 12. And we get exactly $150. Okay? All right, number 6 is another find the simple interest. So we have interest, same formula we've been using, principal times rate times time. Principal is 17,000. The rate is a decimal, 5% is 0.05. The amount of time is 120 days, and notice here, you assume there's 360 days in a year. So to get the fractional part of a year, we take the number of days, which is 120, and divide by 360. So the banker's rule says, even though there's 365 or 366 days in a year, we'll just use 360. So you can go ahead and do that on your calculator. And to get the amount of interest. So again, it's going to be $17,000 is the principal times the rate as a decimal, 0.05, and times the amount of time in years, 120 days divided by 360 is the fractional part of a year, because we're assuming there's 360 days in a year. And that gives us a total of $283.33. If we round in the nearest cent, that's 2 decimal places. So the third decimal is a 3, so we'd keep it a 3. So 283.33 would be rounded to the nearest cent, or 2 decimal places. Okay, now notice in this case we're given principal, rate times, and time, but we need to find the loan's future value, not the interest. So if you remember from the first few problems we did, the future value is equal to P times 1 plus RT. So P is the original investment, or how much you're borrowing or investing, and in this case 9,000. 1 will always be 1. The rate is a decimal, 0.08, and then again times 2, because the number of years is 2. Okay, now if you use parentheses, you can put this into your calculator all in one step. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do it all in one step on the calculator to get the final answer, the amount. So it's going to be 9,000, and then you have a left paren, 1 plus the rate as a decimal, 0.08, times 2, or you use parentheses. Now I use parentheses around the 2 to indicate multiplication, so I need another right paren to close off the entire 1 plus RT. So I'm going to end with 2 right parens, hit enter, and the future amount of the loan is $10,440. Okay. Problem number 8. $8,000 invested at 7.5% for 6 months. Again, find the loan's future value. So the loan's future value, A, is equal to the principal times 1 plus RT, the rate times time. Principal, 8,000. The left paren, 1's always 1, plus the rate, 7.5 as a decimal. Move it over 2 places. So it's going to be 0.075. Be careful. And the amount of time in years, again, 6 months, you got to always divide by 12, because there's 12 months in a year. Okay? So we would have times, the amount of time would be 6 over 12, or 0.5 if you want to put it in as a decimal, 1/2. Okay, again, I can do it all in one step on the calculator using parentheses. So I have 8,000, left paren, 1 plus 0.075 times 6 divided by 12 for the time of 6 months, and then another right paren to close off the entire 1 plus RT quantity, and I get a future value of $8,300. Okay. Question number 9. The principal and the amount, the future amount is given, the time is given. This time we need to determine the loan's simple interest rate. Okay? It involves the future value. So the formula is going to be A equals P times 1 plus RT. Substitute in what you're given. Future amount is $2,120. The original principal is $2,000. 1 is always 1. The rate we're trying to find, so we'll use the variable R, and the amount of time is 1 year. Okay, now this one is where you have to do a couple of algebra steps before you solve it. Okay, you're going to distribute the 2,000 is multiplied by both the 1 and the R. So 2,000 times 1 is 2,000. You distribute the 2,000. 2,000 times R times 1 is just going to be 2,000 R, because 1 times 2,000 is just 2,000 again. So we got 2120. We got 2,000 R. We're trying to solve for the variable R. So we got adding 2,000. So we're going to subtract 2,000 from both sides. Make that 0. 2120 minus 2,000, of course, is 120, equals 2,000 R. Divide by 2,000 to get the coefficient of R equals 1. So R is going to be 120 divided by 2,000, and then we're going to turn it into a decimal, or turn it into a percent, multiply by 100. Okay, so you've got to do a couple of algebra steps on this one. All right, so let's get the final answer on our calculator. We've got 120 divided by 2,000, and then as a percent multiply by 100, or move it over 2 places. So it's going to be 6%. Okay, we're going to go ahead and stop here for this session. If you have any questions, send me an email at tswers@hodges.edu or call me at 239-938-7805. Thank you.